It is a night in Denmark. The guards are on duty. The air is tense and no one feels safe. A question breaks the silence. Who's there? With these words, Shakespeare draws us into a world of fear, doubt, and watchfulness. Stay with me till the end of this video as I take you into the rotten state of Denmark, the dramatic world of Hamlet in Act 1, Scene 1. Shakespeare does not give a lot of stage directions. He just mentions Elsinore, a platform before the castle. Francisco, at his post, entered to him Bernardo. Both of these men are on guard duty. Bernardo speaks first. Who's there? Now, the very first words in this play are, who is there? This is not a greeting, it's like a challenge. From the very first line, the play is asking us to question identity, trust, and knowledge. Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself. So, Francisco wants to know who has come and who is asking for his identity. Long live the king! Apparently, a very harmless combination of words. But under these circumstances, this appears to be kind of a password. Bernardo? He. So Bernardo is not saying I, he is saying he. You come most carefully upon your hour, so you have come in time. So it appears that Bernardo has come to relieve Francisco of his duty. 'Tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco. For this relief, much thanks. So Francisco is quite relieved that he can get back to his warm bed. It's bitter cold and I am sick at heart. Have you had a quiet guard? That means, was it peaceful? Not a mouse stirring. Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste. Rivals, in this case, they are sharing the watch along with Bernardo. So Bernardo wants Francisco to inform Horatio and Marcellus that he's already there in his position. I think I hear them. Stan, ho, who is there? So, see, every time they hear somebody close by, they want to know about the identity of the person. Friends to this ground. So, this is Horatio for the first time on stage. Friends to this crowd. And liegemen to the Dane. Liegemen means loyal men. So, loyal men to the king of Denmark. So they're exchanging pleasantries now. Give you good night, says Francisco. Oh, farewell, honest soldier, who hath relieved you? So Marcellus is now asking Francisco who has relieved him, and we all know that it's Bernardo. Bernardo has my place. Give you good night. And he goes away. So now we have three people on stage: Bernardo, Marcellus, and Horatio. Hola, Bernardo. Say, what? Is Horatio there? A piece of him. Now, why does Horatio say that it's only a piece of him present here? Because obviously he's very sleepy. He doesn't want to be out on this dark night. Probably half of him is asleep and not present here in that way. So he's saying a piece of him. Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus. What? Has this thing appeared again tonight? And suddenly they're talking about something which captures our attention. This thing. So something has been appearing regularly, and Marcellus wants to know if that thing has appeared even this night. I have seen nothing. Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy. So this means that whatever thing they are talking about has not been seen by Horatio yet, and will not let belief take hold of him. From this, from the very beginning, we understand that Horatio is presented as a scientific minded person who gives value to logic and reason. So he says that this thing that they're talking about is a figment of their imagination. Twice seen of us. So we have very specific information here that whatever thing they're talking about was seen twice by Marcellus. Therefore, I have entreated him along. So, usually, Horatio does not come for any kind of guard duty. He has been invited by Marcellus for his expert opinion. And why does Marcellus think Horatio can give an expert opinion? Because he's a learned person, he is a person from the university, so they have a lot of respect for his comments. Therefore, I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night, that if again this apparition come, so now we know what this thing is. It's a spirit. He may approve our eyes and speak to it. So the presence of Horatio will put a seal of validation to the presence of the ghost because he's a learned man. And Marcellus also believes that the ghost will be talking to Horatio, which means the ghost has not yet spoken to any of them. Horatio is reluctant to believe that things like spirits exist. So he says, it will not appear. So it makes a sound like that. Sit down a while and let us once again assail your ears that are so fortified against our story. Fortified means defensive. So Horatio has refused to believe in their story so far. So he wants to tell him once again. In fact, this is a strategy of Shakespeare to let the audience know what has happened before. So this telling of the incident is for the benefit of the audience. What we have tonight seen? Well, sit we down and let us hear Bernardo speak of this. And now Bernardo gives us the information. Last night of all, when yon some star that is westward from the pole, that is like he's talking about the position of the star, the exact timing of the night, had made his course to illume, that is to brighten, that part of heaven where now it burns. So the star, he points at a star and says that that star was exactly at this position last night when something had happened. So this means that this is the moment when that thing might happen again. Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating one. So it was 1 o'clock at night. And as he was telling about his experience, the clock strikes and the audience can see that the ghost has again entered the stage. Peace, break thee off. Look where it comes again. A very punctual ghost, I must say. In the same figure, like the king that is dead. So these guards are instruments in the hands of the dramatist to give us the confirmation that this is the ghost of the late king. Because the audience, they have no idea about the appearance of King Hamlet. So we require the assistance of these guards. Thou art a scholar. Speak to it, Horatio. Looks it not like the king? Mark it, Horatio. So they want Horatio to approach the ghost because they feel that the ghost also has a sense of appropriateness, who he is going to address. Most like, it harrows me with fear and wonder. Harrows means when the fields are plowed, it's like digging something up. So Horatio is feeling quite uncomfortable, rather afraid, and filled with wonder. It would be spoke to. Question it, Horatio. And now Horatio directly addresses the apparition. What art thou that usurpest this time of night? Usurping something means forcefully taking hold of somebody's property. So this night was supposed to be a natural night, and the ghost has come and taken away the naturalness from it, and it has kind of usurped the night. Together with that fair and warlike form in which the majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes march. So, who is buried Denmark? The buried king of Denmark, the dead king of Denmark, that is late King Hamlet. And he's saying that you have appeared with the same warlike features and appearance of the dead king. By heaven, I charge thee, speak. Marcellus is scared. It is offended. See, it stalks away. Stay, speak, speak, I charge thee, speak. The ghost doesn't speak. It is gone and will not answer. And now Bernardo says, see, I told you, now you believe it? How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on it? So it's like he has won a bet or something. Before my God, I might not disbelieve without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes. Avouch means assurance, confirmation. So I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it through my own eyes. Is it not like the king? As thou art to thyself. Such was the very armor he had on when he, the ambitious Norway, combated. So now Horatio is giving a list of military conquests that late King Hamlet accomplished. And the first one is he defeated ambitious Norway, that is, King of Norway was very ambitious. The second instance, so frowned he once when in an angry parley he smote the sledded Polacks on the ice. The Polish soldiers who moved around on sleds, they were also defeated by King Hamlet. It is strange. Thus, twice before and jump at this dead hour, jump means exactly, with martial stalk, the style of walking, with martial stalk had he gone by our watch. So, three times the ghost has appeared till now. In what particular thought to work I know not, but in the gross and scope of my opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state. Appearance of ghost is not a natural thing, and therefore it points at some impending disaster, according to Horatio. Good now, sit down and tell me, he that knows, why this same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils the subject of the land. Now, going a little away from the appearance of the ghost, Marcellus is now talking about the situation of Denmark, because Horatio has just mentioned that some strange eruption to our state is foretold by this appearance of ghost. So now we are given idea about the backdrop. And what is the backdrop? Strict and most observant watch nightly tolls the subject of the land. Marcellus is worried that why are we in this tense situation? Why are such strict regulations in place bothering the subject of the land? And why such daily cast of brazen cannon and foreign mart for implements of war? So it's like the trade and commerce, everything is in a very tense situation. Why such impress of shipwrights? Impress means compulsory enlistment in military service, whose sore task does not divide the Sunday from the week. So no holidays are granted. What might be toward that this sweaty haste doth make the night joint laborer with the day? Usually people rest at night, but in Denmark, especially the ones who are connected to the army or guard duty, they are not given any rest even at night. Who is it that can inform me? That can I. So Horatio has the information about the political scenario going on. At least the whisper goes so. Whisper means the rumor. So he gives us an account of the background of Denmark. Why is there such a tense environment? Our last king, whose image even but now appeared to us, so King Hamlet, whose ghost was just now present with us, was, as you know, by 14 Bras of Norway, thereto pricked on by a most emulate pride. So now Horatio is telling us the story of the conflict between King Hamlet of Denmark and King Fortinbras of Norway. So Fortinbras was envious, he had emulate pride, envious, covetous, and he provoked King Hamlet into a battle, dared to the combat, in which our valiant Hamlet, for so this side of our known world esteemed him, so we and people in our country esteem our King Hamlet as a valiant king. So he did what? Did slay this Fortinbras. So Fortinbras of Norway was defeated and rather killed by Hamlet, who by a sealed compact, well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit with his life all those his lands which he stood seized of to the conqueror. Now, Horatio is talking about a sealed compact, an agreement of some sort, according to which was ratified, that is, approved by law and heraldry. Heraldry is like the traditional practices of knighthood. Okay, so according to the rules and regulations, this agreement made the lands of Fortinbras pass to the hands of King Hamlet. Now, according to this agreement, had Fortinbras been victorious, then the land would have gone to Fortinbras. But this did not happen because King Hamlet won. Against the which a moiety competent was gauged by our king. So it was like an equal amount of land was wagered or risked by King Hamlet also, that if Fortinbras would win, then King Hamlet would lose that land. All right, but Fortinbras did not win, which had returned to the inheritance of Fortinbras had he been the vanquisher. Okay, so if Fortinbras was the victor, then he would have got back that land. By the same covenant and carriage of the article designed, his fell to Hamlet. So by the same agreement, since Fortinbras was defeated, the whole thing came to Hamlet's possession. That is King Hamlet's possession. Now, sir, young Fortinbras, that is the son of this defeated King Fortinbras, his name is also Fortinbras. This was a regular practice, you know. Hamlet's father was King Hamlet, Fortinbras's father was King Fortinbras. So, young Fortinbras, what has he done? He has tried to take some revenge, obviously. So, what has he done? Young Fortinbras of unimproved metal. So, Fortinbras is courageous, or he has stamina, but that is not yet proven in battle. So it is unimproved, it is not trained in that sense. Hot and full, hath in the skirts of Norway, that is outskirts of Norway, he had moved around and collected people. Here and there, sharked up a list of lawless resolutes, mostly outlaws, for food and diet, to some enterprise that hath a stomach in it. So there is a plan that young Fortinbras has made up, and for that he has collected these lawless group of gangster kind of people, to which no other, as it doth well appear unto our state, but to recover of us by strong hand and terms compulsory those foresaid lands. So, according to Horatio, the target that young Fortinbras has in mind is that entire chunk of land that his father had lost to Hamlet, to recover it, so by his father lost. And this, I take it, is the main motive of our preparations. So Horatio, who is a very logical person, has a very logical reason why there is such an air of nervousness all around the state of Denmark. The source of this, our watch, and the chief head of this post haste and romage in the land. Romage means commotion. So, this is the source, this is the reason why such an air of mistrust is all around us, why we are given this additional duty all the time. Bernardo, he connects the appearance of the ghost to these circumstances and says, I think it be no other, but even so. Well, may it sort that this portentous figure, this ominous figure, as if the ghost is like a premonition, something bad is about to happen, that kind of a prophetic figure. Portentous figure comes armed through our watch. So, like the king that was and is the question of these wars. So, since King Hamlet was the center of this conflict with Norway, maybe that's why he's appearing every night to be with us in our watch. Although Horatio is reluctant to accept anything which is not logical, he makes a very important statement here. A mote it is to trouble the mind's eye. Mote is like a speck of dust. Okay. So Horatio says that even a small speck of dust is enough to disturb the mind's eye. That is, understanding of the mind. And interestingly, this line also has biblical connections, especially Matthew 7 3. And I'll read from it. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? In the Bible, the mote refers to a tiny speck of dust in another person's eye compared to the beam in somebody's own eyes. So it's also a criticism of faulty judgment. Like people focus on small faults in others while ignoring big ones in their own. Anyway, coming to the context of this play, he goes on to say, in the most high and palmy state of Rome, a little ere the mightiest Julius fell. So he's talking about the fall of Julius Caesar. The graves stood tenantless. Who are the tenants of the graves? The dead bodies. So it was believed that dead bodies came out of the graves. So the graves became tenantless. And the sheeted dead, like the dead bodies, moved around wearing sheets in shrouds, did squeak and gibber in the Roman streets. So there are stories that before the fall of Julius Caesar, ghosts appeared in the streets of Rome. And here also a ghost is appearing. So something bad is about to happen. As stars with trains of fire and dews of blood, disasters in the sun. And the moist star upon whose influence Neptune's empire stands. So the moist star is here, the moon, and Neptune's empire means the water bodies in this world, the seas and the oceans. So Neptune's empire is influenced by the moon because of the tides. So you see, you also have these references to natural facts, scientifically proven facts. And you can understand that the minds of the people during this time had changed from the dark medieval times. It was time of the Renaissance. Horatio says that the ghosts had appeared just before the fall of Julius Caesar, and nature also gave signals. Like there was a constant eclipse. The moist star upon whose influence Neptune's empire stands was sick almost to doomsday with eclipse. So the moon was under constant eclipse. And even the like precurse of fierce events as harbingers preceding still the fates and prologue to the omen coming on. So natural incidents often become like prologue to some impending disaster. Have heaven and earth together demonstrated unto our climatures and countrymen, but soft, behold, lo, where it comes again. And when Horatio is trying to explain to them about the possibility the ghost might indicate some bigger disaster, the ghost appears again. So the ghost enters twice in the first scene. I'll cross it. So I'll cross question it. Though it blast me. So he is scared. Stay, illusion. He refers to the ghost as illusion. And the ghost might be offended by it, but let's see. If thou has any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done, that may to thee do ease and grace to me. So, if there is anything good that I can do, it would be nice of me to do it. You can tell me, and if it makes you be at ease, speak to me. And then suddenly the cock crows. The same thing had happened in Macbeth's first scene also. Uh, the cock crows, and supernatural beings are disturbed by the indication that the dawn is close by, because the ghost is not comfortable in broad daylight, and the cock's crowing is like an alarm bell for the ghost. Horatio goes on talking. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, if you have some inner knowledge, some privy, if you have some extra information about this country, and its politics, which happily foreknowing may avoid. Oh, speak, tell us, so that we can prevent that political disaster from happening. Or if thou hast uphoarded in thy life extorted treasure in the womb of earth. Usually, people have this idea that ghosts appear when they can't rest in peace because they have buried some hidden treasure. Okay, and so Horatio is saying, if you have any such information, you can tell us that, for which they say you spirits oft walk in death. Speak of it. Stay and speak. Stop it, Marcellus. So when Horatio is speaking, he can see that the ghost is retreating. And Horatio, who had said that I will blast him if needed, he's now not ready to actually strike the ghost himself. So he wants Marcellus to come to his rescue and says, stop it, Marcellus. Shall I strike it? Shall I strike at it with my partisan? So Marcellus is also unsure as to how he is supposed to hit the ghost or stop it. And then he asks him, should he use his long handled spear, the partisan, uh, things which foot soldiers used against the cavalry? Should I use that to stop it? Do, if it will not stand. It is here. It is here. So they're hitting, kind of trying to stop the ghost. It is gone. Of course, they can't hit a ghost with a partisan or whatever it is. We do it wrong. And now they realize that it has been very, very disrespectful. First of all, it was a ghost. Secondly, the ghost of King Hamlet. So this was disrespectful. We do it wrong, being so majestical, to offer it the show of violence. For it is, as the air, invulnerable. Now they realize that the ghost cannot be stabbed to death, it is dead already. And our vain blows malicious mockery. So it's like the attempt that we have made is making fool of ourselves. Bernardo feels that the ghost was about to speak to them, but the timing was not right because the cock crew and it was almost daytime. It was about to speak when the cock crew, and then it startled like a guilty thing. Upon a fearful summons, I have heard the cock, that is the trumpet to the morn, doth with his lofty and shrill sounding throat awake the god of day. And at his warning, the warning of the cock, whether in sea or fire, in earth or air, the extravagant and erring spirit hies to his confine. So it is usually said that with the crowing of the cock, the spirits they get back to their original confines, the graves. And of the truth herein, this present object made probation. And this is now proven by this incident. That just when the cock crew, after that the ghost disappeared. It faded on the crowing of the cock. Some say that ever again that season comes wherein our Saviour's birth is celebrated, the bird of dawning singeth all night long. Now, Marcellus is uh, talking about the night of Nativity, that is 25th December, Christmas. It said that during that season of Christmas, the cock crows through the night, so that through the night the spirits are unable to roam around and harm anybody because it's the season of the Savior's birth. Like he's pointing to this season right now going around us. And then they say, no spirit dare stir abroad, the nights are wholesome, then no planet strike, no fairy takes, nor witch hath power to charm, so hallowed and so gracious is the time. So during the time of Christmas, no negative spirits are able to roam around the earth at night because the cock crows all night. And the cock is referred to as the bird of dawning. So have I heard, and do in part believe it. But look, the morn, in russet mantle clad, walks over the dew of yon high eastward hill. Suddenly we have beautiful poetic lines here. But what is russet mantle? Mantle is like a dress. Russet is like a reddish brown color. But no matter how poetic the lines appear, if we try to imagine, It's not a very bright color, it's unpleasant, dark, and does not have the quality of making us feel all happy and positive. So, russet is not a very bright color at that. Horatio says that it's morning and the sky is turning into this dark red color, walks over the dew of yon high eastward hill. Break we our watch up. So it's time for us to break our watch. And by my advice, let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. So he decides to inform the late King Hamlet's son, who is also called Hamlet. For upon my life, this spirit dumb to us, the spirit is now speaking to us, will speak to him. Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our loves fitting our duty? Let's do it, I pray, and I this morning know where we shall find him most conveniently. So Marcellus knows where to find Hamlet, and he decides to pass on this information to Hamlet so that they know what the ghost is trying to tell them. And that brings us to the end of the scene. What is the importance, the significance of the scene? First of all, it gives us the air of uncertainty, which is like the central backdrop of the whole play. We are led into a world where nothing is fully clear and doubt governs human actions. Second is the appearance of the ghost. Ghosts and supernatural beings keep on arriving in Shakespearean plays. But here, the ghost is not just a figment of imagination. It's not like one person is seeing the ghost and nobody else can. Not like the dagger in Macbeth or Banquo's ghost in Macbeth, where only Macbeth can see that. So that can pass as figment of imagination, not this one. Because this is like three people, along with the audience, have witnessed the ghost on stage when young Hamlet was nowhere on stage. So, definitely that ghost or whatever it is not part of Hamlet's imagination because he's not even there in the play yet. And this ghost, it links the personal with the political. And the discussion of 14 brass, war, national security, it all shows that the private crime in royal family has public consequences. And Denmark's internal disorder is linked to the threat from Norway also. The scene also presents to us the character of Horatio, who represents reason under pressure. How far is reason capable of holding on to itself? We also get to see how the past refuses to remain silent. And then we have these questions. Is the ghost really what it appears to be? So the question between appearance and reality begin quite early in the play, right in the first scene itself. And the most important thing is that it prepares us to meet Hamlet. And it's a very common dramatic strategy of Shakespeare. He usually never gives us the hero in the very first scene. It's like he postpones that moment to increase our expectation and sets the mood completely before we see the hero for the first time in the play. So happened in Macbeth, and now we see the same thing happening in Hamlet. So Act 1, Scene 1 is not an action scene. It's more like a thinking scene. It's a scene that sets the mood, the pace of the story, and gently rouses the curiosity in the minds of the audience. And now that we know that young Hamlet is soon going to learn about this, we are curious to know what he is going to do about it and what truth or misinterpretation of truth might rise out of there. We'll read that together in Act 1, Scene 2 in our next video. Till then, stay subscribed. This is Monami Mukherjee signing off. Bye bye.